Hello and welcome to another Wannabe Entrepreneur episode, the podcast about what it's really like to bootstrap a company. And today I have a very packed episode for you. In the past week, I, together with João, my co-founder, were focusing on building our indie lottery that we launched actually today. So I want to tell you all about it. And today was also the first day of the Web Summit. And it was really, really eventful. A lot of things happening. And I got to meet some interesting startups. So I'll tell you all about it. And let's not waste more time with intros or anything. Let's just get started with today's episode. So last year, and I was already making this podcast, so you probably, if you are one of like those old listeners, the ones that actually follow me since the beginning, you remember that I really wanted to go to the Web Summit. I even tried to get the alpha ticket and I actually got it, but then I ended up not going because everyone was saying like, don't go, it's not worth it to pay $900. So I thought, okay, but everyone around me is actually getting free tickets. I'm here, I'm in Portugal. I know some people, why can't I get a free ticket? So I went on Twitter and I follow a bunch of accounts in like around Portugal and like, people, Portugal tourism and Portugal startups, anything related to that. And sure enough, one account actually said, hey, do you want to get a ticket for Web Summit? You just need to pitch an idea about sustainability or something. And I said, okay, I'll do it. And my idea was Uber for boats. That's it. I didn't say anything else. Just like Uber for boats. But I know when you just compare your idea with a big unicorn, people will be like, wow, this is something good. So that's basically what I've done. And I got the ticket. I was super excited. I thought, okay, I am going to the Web Summit. I was already telling everyone. And then I kind of read the fine print and I realized that this was actually for 2022. So I had to actually wait 1 year. And 1 year has passed and I am at the Web Summit with my free ticket. I actually got 2 tickets, so I invited my friend Sven. Hey Sven, can you say hi?
Hi.
And what was interesting was that when Sven got the ticket, after like a few weeks, he was like, by the way, dude, I have a friend that works at the Web Summit and I have like tons of tickets for free. So in the end, I was like giving away tickets because they would basically be null, like no one would use them. So I was giving away. In the end, we got like 6 tickets for the Web Summit. Like last year, I couldn't get 1. This year, I got 6. I want to tell you about why I want to go to the Web Summit. It's the hype, for sure. Everyone says the biggest tech conference in the world, and there's so many big names. Like 70,000 people are coming to Portugal. Can you imagine 70,000? Like this is a freaking festival. So I obviously, because of this hype, I want to go, especially if it's for free. But also it's a great opportunity to narrate to you, the wannabe entrepreneur listeners, what it's like in this conference. And if you do not have the chance to go, at least now you can hear me tell you. And I've been doing like a full report on Twitter. So if you follow me at WBTIO, you can see. And then today I have really cool videos because today was the first day. And the first day starts with registration. So you need to get your wristband and you need to get your, how do you call, Sven, this thing that you put it on the, on your neck? Like your, pass, I guess. Yeah, you need to get your pass. Sven is here, by the way, listening to me as I record this episode. So you need to get your pass and your wristband, and you can take them in the airport or in the venue kind of thing. We went to the airport. It was super smooth. Like it was actually really, really fast. We got our tickets, and then we went to the intro. So basically, the opening event of the Web Summit started at around, I think, 5, and it's like in this huge pavilion with a lot of space, and it was really, really cool. When I get there, like there's so many lights with like the branding of Web Summit. I was like, wow, this is really, really cool. We waited a bit and then it started, and I was so hyped. I was really thinking that someone would come and like really hype the crowd. I was so excited, but no, it was actually the opposite. The anti-hype. Like some dude came and he said like, I'm the co-founder of, or the co-host, I don't know, of this conference, and now you'll hear a bunch of pitches. I was like, all right, I like startups. So then the pitches started, and they were terrible. Really, they were really just not good. It seems like everyone was so awkwardly going on stage, and they were like basically reading everything out of a prompt. They were like reading everything they had to say. It was very echoey, very awkward, and at some point the prompt like stopped working. And these people, they are supposed to know their companies by heart, right? Like that's what being an entrepreneur is. They didn't know what to say. They were like very nervous. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, it seemed that it was like the first time they were knowing about this company. So it seems that I was like basically watching ads. You know, when you're on YouTube and you want to watch something cool, but then you have this shitty ad and you're just waiting for it to skip. By the way, I don't have any ads in the podcast. So if you want to support me, make sure to check the show notes. Okay. This was kind of an ad, wasn't it? Well, anyways. So yeah, it was very awkward. And then finally we are waiting for the last speech. It's like, okay, it's the last speech. Then there will be like the proper kind of keynote speakers. Everyone was super excited. And suddenly you just hear a scream and you look and there's like people running away. I was like, oh my God, it's happening. It's happening. Like something shit is about to go down. And I look up and I see a speaker, like a huge speaker, those kind of speakers that will kill you if they fall on top of you. And he's just like swinging away. And there's a video on my Twitter, by the way, if you want to put some image into this. Like, and I was like, oh my God, is this going to fall and like kill a bunch of people? Fortunately, it didn't fall, but like the event completely stopped. You know, the speaker that was like pitching the startup was like, do you need some help? And then someone just told him like, hey, please get out. Like, get out of that. You cannot solve this. So then we waited for 45 minutes. And I kind of figured out finally what actually had happened. So there's one of those cameras that look like drones. You see them like in football matches. Like, they look like drones, but they're not drones. They're like stick with this kind of wires. And they move around. I don't know how they work, but they look really cool. So I think it just crashed against that speaker. So the camera was ruined, and then we waited for 45 minutes to make sure everything was okay, or if they could like somehow restore the camera. So yeah, that was really, really boring. Then the event restarted, and then there was some interesting talks. There was the CEO of Binance, which is a kind of crypto wallet investing, really famous app. I have some money there, by the way. And there was actually, in the end, the First Lady of Ukraine. Yeah, Mrs. Zelensky. She actually came to speak about, well, obviously the war, what's going on. And her story was like, she was trying to tell us that we should use technology for the good and not for weapons and bad shit. It was really cool. It was really cool to see her here, and it was really inspiring. Her speech was quite long, but I really enjoyed it. And again, it's just great for her to also speak about it and bring us this news. We get a lot of news from Ukraine, but like hearing from, you know, first person, like someone is actually feeling it, it's completely different than just hearing from the news. So it was really, really interesting to basically see her there. And then the events kind of finished, and we went to the first night summit, is called. Like, there's some kind of networking parties after the events, and this one was actually next to Beato. If you remember that co-working space where Anthony and I did our little like indie makers event, it's basically next to it. So we went there. It was crowded, like filled with people. And then what I really wanted to do is to socialize, and I wanted to like meet a bunch of other like startup founders and people like that. So I'm not very good at this, I have to admit. So I was kind of trying to spot the people that were wearing the alpha ticket, which means that they were like basically presenting their startup, and I was like asking them to pitch their startups, and it was really, really interesting. And well, I think people mostly like it. There was only two guys that I just basically pointed at them and I said like, pitch your startup, and they looked at me and said no thanks, and they left. It was so awkward. And then they kind of returned afterwards like, hey, sorry, what do you want? Is like, yeah, I was just like, I wanted to hear about your startup, but you kind of rudely ignored me and say, oh no, sorry. Anyways, that didn't go well, but with the other ones it was really cool, and super interesting startups were like being pitched. Like, it's really, I mean, we are in this phase in technology where things are really changing. So there was one guy that was actually making a tool, like a Canva, you know, the design tool Canva. So a tool for augmented reality. So artists can make augmented reality art, and then you can just basically have it on your phone and point it anywhere. You can see it. You know, you can see it through your phone. So that's actually a thing. And they want to build a marketplace where you can buy this kind of art. This is super cool. Then another dude in the NFT world, he was basically doing, you know, this time sharing for apartments where you can like own a portion of that apartment. You can do that with NFTs. So they basically use an NFT smart contract to split into like multiple, let's say, stocks, and you get a portion of that apartment, and then they try to make money out of it by renting it on Airbnb or something, and you get a portion of that money using the crypto and NFT technology. So that was also really interesting, and there was a bunch of other ideas. Some of them you can clearly see they are in the beginning, and they are just like, I don't know, they're there just to get some feedback, and others are a little bit more mature. In the end, it was a great event, and I really enjoyed chatting with people, and I'm super excited for tomorrow because I think there'll be a lot of interesting talks and a lot of interesting events, and I will definitely share it with you probably in the next episode, or maybe I'll do another episode still this week just to tell you what I've learned. But just, yeah, if you want to follow this conference, just follow me on Twitter because I'll be sharing a lot there. Now, let's talk about my projects. Let's talk about me again. Let's talk about the Indie Lottery. The Indie Lottery is that amazing project where you can submit your website, and then if you win, it's sent to a bunch of people. I've been working hard with João on this because I wanted to release on Monday. I wanted like to. We had actually. I told you that we already got 4 people to pay to sponsor, because we have this kind of slots for sponsors, and we already had this, and I had the pressure to deliver. So we were like working really long until like 4 or 5 a.m. And João is a designer, and he's really picky, which is great because I'm the opposite. I'm like, no, just let's release it, and it's super ugly, I don't care. And he really wanted to make all the margins correctly and everything aligned. So we were always fighting. It was like, not fighting, like it was in a good way. I was like telling João, no, let's do it, let's release it. And João was like, no, you need to make this and make that. So I think it's a very healthy partnership because it's more, he wants to make things right, and I want to make things fast. And in the end, we'll have things that are right and fast somehow, I guess. So the website, I think, is looking great. There's still a lot of like things to, little details to improve, but we launched it. We launched it yesterday, and then today I basically shared it on Twitter. I got some people that are interested in that, and I know that João will try to do some Twitter ads and share it in forums. The launch was not incredible, I have to be honest. Like, we didn't get a lot of traction yet, but so far the feedback is great, and we already got another person that wants to sponsor it. So, I mean, it kind of validates the business model. I know that a lot of these people are still from my network, so they do it because they trust me. But yeah, let's see if I can start now getting people outside of network, and if this can actually become a viable business. So this can be maybe a competitor for the community in terms of my MRR, can be a good chunk. Yeah. Besides that, as I told you, I have the fractional CTO. I actually signed NDA, so I cannot speak a lot about it. Yeah, I know it looks that it's something super top secret, but it's not. But yeah, they want me to sign this, so I signed the NDA, and we'll be basically negotiating, and we'll try to see if I can help them somehow as with this fractional CTO capacity, and which is great for me. I'll get some extra money, and I can help someone kind of bootstrap or build their startup. That's it. That's basically everything I wanted to tell you. I interviewed Simon Oiberg, and the interview will be out probably this week or maybe next week. I don't know. I'll probably be very busy, but it's a great interview with a lot of great insights. I also did a quick chat with Tony Dean about viral loops, how to create viral loops for your product. I shared it on YouTube, and I'll probably also share it here on the podcast. But for now, I will link it in the description. You can just go on YouTube and see it. It's really, really cool. And besides that, you can buy the WB merch. You can become a WB member and like meet us and build your product together with the community. It's $10 per month. And share this podcast with your friends. That would be really, really amazing. This was another Wannabe Entrepreneur. See you next time.
By the way, it's called a cable suspended skycam.